morning. So we have Princess Peach here today, and we also have Ninja. Are you going to be like Ninja Christian, or are you going to be like another name for your ninja character?
My ninja name and my
What's your
nickname
ninja name?
are both Calmer.
What is it?
Calmer, even though that's not really a ninja name.
Hal Mary?
Calmer. It's the name I want most.
Calmer?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So Ninja Calmer. Cool. That's a cool ninja name. Well, I hope you guys have fun tonight. Okay, I'm going to start. What am I doing? I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah.
And we're going to start on page 49. In grammar, page 49. Okay, 49. Adverbs. Lucky for you, you know what those are because you're already using them in your writing.
Does that mean we don't have to review them?
We're going to go kind of fast because you already know it, but I do need to review it just to get it back in our heads for this book.
Does it say learn it then?
I don't know, because you already know this. It should say review it. But anyway, an adverb tells how, when, where, why, and to what extent. Okay. So when you're looking for an adverb in a sentence, you're going to start with looking for the verb. Because remember, the adverb adds to the verb, right? Luckily, they named it adverb so we can remember that. So when you hear adverb, think about verb. And then you're going to look at that verb and then ask these questions: how, when, where, why, and to what extent. A lot of times those adverbs end in ly, and that's what we're doing in our writing. So that's the super easy peasy cheesy one, right? And sometimes they don't always end in ly, but that's mainly the way they are. So here you've got your example. Timmy recently ate an unusually large tomato. So we've got two ly adverbs here: recently and unusually. So when you label them, you're just going to put ly. So lucky for you, they're all going to be ly in here. So this is talking about how you use that in your writing, ly adverbs as dress-up words. So let's skip down here to adjective. Now, adjective, I wish they called it add noun, because then that would have made our lives so much easier if we had an adverb and an add noun. But no, they wanted to complicate things. So now they have adjective. So anyway, adjectives describes a noun, sometimes a pronoun. So the way to find those in a sentence is start with a noun. And then you're going to ask these questions: which one, what kind, how many, or whose. Those are the questions you ask when you're looking at a noun to find an adjective. Should be add noun. I wonder who thought of that. You know, who was the original guy that came up with these words? It's like, because we're stuck with adjective now like forever. And it just would have been nice if they would have helped us out a little bit with that. But anyways. You learned back in week 6 that it usually comes before the word it describes, and that's true. Look at this example here. The scared mice ran. So mice is your noun in that sentence. It's a thing or it's an animal. And if you ask which one, the scared mice, that tells what kind of mice. Actually is more like that. What kind of mice is the scared mice? Here, the mice were scared. Sometimes the adjective might follow a linking verb. So here the linking verb were. Did I say was? I meant were if I said was. The mice were scared. So were is that linking verb, and it's connecting this noun mice to the adjective scared. It's still telling what kind of mice. They're the scared mice. So it's still in a different spot in the sentence, but that's okay. You're going to label it ADJ for adjective. Any questions on this page so far? If not, shake your head no for me. Okay, next page on the back of that, there's a little bit more. This is page 50. We're talking about capitalization. Are you still with me, Christian? You on this page 50? Okay. Proper adjectives formed from proper nouns. So, you know, proper nouns are those nouns that are names, like even your name is capitalized. My name is capitalized. The name of a city, the name of a restaurant. Names of pretty much everything are proper nouns. So, here we have Timmy's tail bumped the English teacup. The proper adjective Timmy's, you know, it is an adjective, even though it is also a noun. It's a little confusing there. But because it's telling whose tail, it turns that into an adjective. Remember, because an adjective answers whose. But it still is a name, so it still needs to be a capital. Timmy's tail. And then the proper adjective English comes from the proper noun England. That's a country, right? And that's the name of the country. And then the name of those people that live in England, or even the language or from England. If it's from England, it's English. The teacup. So the teacup is from England, so they call it an English teacup. So that has to be capitalized because it's representing a country. All right. And then here's a couple things to think about. Remember, sometimes, and this is one of the reasons why English is one of the hardest languages to learn, because words can be exactly the same, but they can have a different part of speech depending on how it's used in the sentence. For instance, the word light. Here it's used as a noun. The light hurt my eyes, because the is before it. That tells us it's a noun. The light hurt my eyes. So like if you have a really bright spotlight, or maybe if you help your dad in the garage and he turns on like a shop light in the dark so you can see the engine better or whatever he's working on, those hurt if you look right at them. So the light hurt my eyes. The light is a thing, so it's a noun. Here it's used as an adjective. The light rain was falling, because the light here is explaining the rain, like what kind of rain. It's a light rain. It's not a heavy rain. It's a light rain, kind of like when it sprinkles. But that's telling about the rain, so it changes there. It's not a noun anymore. It's an adjective. And then here it's used as a verb. The lamps light the room. So your noun is lamps. And here it's saying what it's doing. It's lighting the room. That's a verb. It's an action. So the lamps light the room. So that word light is an example. There's lots more. But depending on how it's used in the sentence will tell you what kind of part of speech it is. Sometimes it's a noun or an adjective or a verb. So keep that in mind. Just as you're reading, notice that about different words. Any questions on this page? No questions? Shake your head no for me. Thank you. Any volunteers to read the sentence today? Going once. Going twice. Okay, thank you, Harmony. Go for it whenever you're ready.
In comparison, Timmy's vest, which he usually wore outdoors, was rumpled and dull.
Good reading. That word is rumpled. Rumpled. That's a word we don't really use very often. Do you guys know what rumpled means? Rumpled
Means to shake. Not really.
I think you're thinking of rumbled.
Means
Like, that reminds me of like, are you ready to rumble?
Are you
That's that's like, don't they say that at the basketball games or something like that? And they want the crowds to go, yeah. That's more like shaking, like what you're thinking. This is a P. So it's a little different. Rumpled. What do you think, Christian?
Let's get
It means all crumbled up, and when you open it, they're like crumbles everywhere.
Yeah,
Kind of crumbled up.
that's a better description. It's rumpled is like wrinkled or crumbled up, like you said, or scrunched up, or like when you rumple a piece of paper, you just like turn it into a ball, something like that. Rumpled. It's a word that we don't use too often, but okay, good. Let's put a check mark there. Means wrinkled. Okay, let's move over here. We don't even have any articles today, so we're going to jump right into nouns. So Harmony, where are the two nouns in this sentence?
Timmy's.
Timmy's, good guess. And normally it would be, but in this, it's actually an adjective because
Vest.
there you go. That's the noun is vest. And then the other one's a little
Outdoors.
tricky to find.
Outdoors.
Not outdoors. I'll tell you why in a second. It's going to be comparison. That doesn't really sound like a noun, but it is.
Right here.
Because this one's a little tricky, you guys. It says in comparison, and that word in is a preposition, right? That's one of the prepositional words, prepositions. And so this is going to become a prepositional phrase. So let's underline it since we're talking about it right here. In comparison is a prepositional phrase. And remember, when we underline that, we start with the preposition and we end on a noun. So that tells us comparison is a noun in this sentence. That's a tricky one. We could put a check mark by prepositional phrase because we already got that done. And then the two nouns we found. How about a pronoun, Christian? Where's that at?
He.
Good. He is the pronoun since that was so short. How about the adjectives? Now I gave away one of them.
Timmy's, outdoors, and rumpled.
Rumpled. Outdoors is actually not an adjective in this sentence.
Oh, dull.
There you go, dull. And we'll get to explaining that outdoors word. That's kind of throwing us off a little bit. So we got the adjectives though. There's 3 adjectives. How about Harmony? Do you see an ly adverb in here that ends in ly?
What are you looking for your ly adverb?
L.
What word?
Lee.
What?
Usually.
There you go. Good. Usually we're just going to label it with ly like that. Good one.
Are we gonna do that clause this year when you write that on top of that?
Eventually, yes. Not yet, but eventually. Harmony, since that was so short, can you find the coordinating conjunction? Do you remember what those are? Which one is the coordinating conjunction?
Okay.
Common conjunction.
Is
And.
Good. And remember fanboys. That's what those are. All right, back to you, Christian. Where is the who which clause?
It's after vest, then goes then which, and then it ends at after outdoors.
Good. Okay, so now let's talk about outdoors for a second here. Because this is a which clause, by the way, we're going to label it W/W, starts with which. The whole clause is explaining the vest, right? It describes the vest. So in comparison, we're just going to look at Timmy's vest, which he usually wore outdoors. That whole clause is telling a little bit more about the vest. So that's why we don't even label outdoors. This is part of the clause. So that was a tricky one because sometimes outdoors is an adjective and sometimes outdoors is a noun. You guys were both right at the word, but the way it's used in this sentence is part of a clause, is part of the which clause. Okay. Back to Harmony. How about the verbs? Where are the verbs in this sentence? Those are the action words or helping or making. War is one. Good. What else?
S. He.
Do the
No.
verbs first. Let's do just the verbs. She's not asking for you for
Yeah.
the subject yet.
There's only one more left, and it's
What?
actually a linking verb.
I don't think she.
Was.
There you go. Good. I missed it if you said it already. Those are the two verbs, wore and was. So, Harmony, what is the subject for both of those?
He.
He is one, good. And then there's one more subject, because that works for inside the which clause. What was rumpled and dull?
He.
What
Is
was?
she saying he?
Vest.
Yeah. good.
Vest. There you go. You got it. The vest was rumpled and dull. That was, so that is the other subject. So remember, the which clause has its own subject and verb pair. And then the main clause, which is around that, it also has its own subject and verb pair. Good. Okay, Christian, capitals.
In, Timmy's, and that's all.
In and Timmy's. And then Christian, what about the comma? Do we put one in or take one out?
Take one out
Which one?
after in comparison.
In comparison, no, that one actually stays because that's like a prepositional phrase opener. That stays.
After vest. Wait, no.
No,
Oh.
that goes around the which clause. Those stay.
It's either outdoors.
No, that's part of the which clause. Remember, before and after which
On
clause.
the left.
So there's one left, this one.
Yeah, that one.
We got to take that out because it's only
Oh, 'cause
listing
it's only
two.
one.
Yeah, it's only listing two things, rumpled and dull. It's giving it a description about the vest. If it was rumpled, dull, and torn, that would be three things that you would need
And
commas.
wet.
And wet, that's a good one. If it had more than two, then you would need commas. But since there's only two words there,
Purple, dull, wet, torn, muddy, dirty.
and then Harmony, what do we need at the end? What kind of an end mark?
Grade.
Good. All right, we did it. Good job, you guys. So your homework will be to finish writing this later at the bottom. And then the next 3 pages, 52, 53, and 54. You guys are doing great on your grammar. You know, I always put the answer key on the homework. So hopefully you're looking at that too with your mom or your dad to correct your grammar and make sure you got it right.
Look at it.
Always do the grammar by yourself first and then check it though. Okay.
Yeah, I look at
Way to
it.
do it. Okay, good. Alrighty, go ahead and get out from the front pocket everything that you've been working on for the emperor and the soup. Go ahead and get all that out. The emperor and the soup. And I want you to look at your paragraphs that you wrote, your 3 paragraphs. I haven't had a chance to grade homework yet. We had a super duper busy week. It's finally starting to kind of mellow out a little bit. So I'm behind on my grading. So if you don't see a grade yet on there, don't worry, it's coming, I promise. But I want you to look at your 3 paragraphs that you wrote from the story sequence chart. I'm just going to bring up the checklist here. And I want you to look at each paragraph and give me a thumbs up if you remembered to underline one LY word in each paragraph. Give me a thumbs up if you did that. Good, Christian. Oh, good, Harmony. How about the who, which clause? Look for either who or which. Make sure you have one of those in each paragraph and give me a thumbs up if you got that. Good. Make sure they're underlined too.
My mom forgot to put the second and third paragraph. But
Oh, but did you do it?
yeah.
That Harmony, good. Okay, good. So make sure you can unsubmit on Google Classroom and then resubmit it again. That's okay to do it that way. How about, this is a kind of a new one here, the strong verb. Give me a thumbs up if you remembered to put a strong verb. Good. Yay. In each paragraph. How about this? Did you guys remember to give it a new title? If you gave it a new title, give me a thumbs up. Not yet. Okay, Harmony's like, not yet. Are you still working on your paragraphs, Harmony? Or you're finished? Okay, so remember the title rule right here. It says centered and repeats 1 to 3 key words from that final sentence. So you can think about that. Think about looking at your last sentence and maybe you can come up with a new title using 1 to 3 of those key words. Okay, so we have a little bit of time. Does either one of you want to read your story to us? Would you like to read your paragraphs? Christian's saying no. You want to read yours, Harmony? No, she's like, no. Oh, there's a thumbs up. Okay, let me stop the share here. If you want to, you don't have to, okay, Harmony, but if you want to, go ahead and read your story.
You want to?
There was once an emperor who set out to go hunting in the woods. He was separated from his group and became lost. Luckily, he found a house next to a small garden with a hen house. He was welcomed by a woodcutter and his wife. They shared stories, sang songs, and laughed together. Next, they ate some amazing and delicious soup. The emperor, who thought it was the best soup ever, asked for the recipe when he returned home. He gave the recipe to his chef. Unfortunately, the soup did not taste right. The emperor thought there was something missing. He ran to the woodcutter and his wife to ask for the missing ingredient. The wife told the emperor, "Last time you were very tired, then you relaxed and had fun, which made you feel happy. You were properly prepared for the soup." After the emperor learned his lesson, he gave them some gold coins and was ready to journey home.
Nice. Let's give her a hand clap, Christian, in the camera. Very good, Harmony. I loved it. I heard all those LY words and the who, which, and the strong verbs. So you just got to figure out a title, it sounds like. Did you pick one out yet? A new title for it? Not yet. That's okay. You can figure that out later, but that sounds great. I love it. You did an awesome, awesome job. Okie dokie, let's go ahead and put away the emperor and the soup, and we're going to get out the next week. So first, let's go to the back here, finished compositions. This, where is it at? Right here. Go to the back of your binder to finished compositions. And we're going to go to the back of all the stuff you have in here. And you're going to put this away. Except for the blue one. Don't put the blue one away yet, okay? Just these. This one on top, the emperor and the soup. Doesn't matter the order behind that, but all the other, like the original story and your checklist and your story sequence chart and your paragraphs, all of that goes behind everything. Just make sure this is on top of that stack. This page is the overview page, and then everything behind it, it doesn't really matter to me what order you put it in, but just stick it back in there. Not the blue page. Keep the blue page separate. Once you have that put away behind finished compositions, give me a thumbs up. Okay, good, Christian. Good, Harmony. Okay, now that that's put away, I want you to just look really quick at your blue. These are the banned words. I reused the same paper, so I erased mine on the plastic thing. I just want to make sure that you have think, thought. Do you have that on your blue page? Think, thought? No, not yet. Okay, so before we put away the blue page, you should have on here seesaw, or no, say, said, seesaw, go, went. You guys have those three on yours? Seesaw, say, said, go, went. Now we need to add here, think and thought. That's the next banned word, which makes it tricky, right? By the way, think, thought, let me zoom in a little so you can see it better here. That happens inside your head, right? Think, thought happens inside your head. So another word rather than think or thought, because we tend to say thought a lot, maybe dreamed or imagined.
Wondered.
Oh yeah, wondered. I wonder. And these are all past tense. That was a good one. Wondered. Do you have any ideas, Christian, of what else you could say instead of think, thought? Have you heard of pondered? I pondered that. That means just thinking. Pondered. You could even use the word knew, K-N-E-W, like I knew that, because that happens inside your head, right? I knew.
Still cold. It's my keep warm clothes.
You're still cold. You're putting more layers on.
Yes.
Or believed is another good one. Go ahead and write these down, Christian. I-E-V-E-D, believed. Dreamed, imagined, wondered, pondered, knew, believed, decided. That'll be our last one. Decided. Decided. So that's a good list. You might think of others later, and you can always add to this list. But now think, thought is banned. So you're going to have to really stretch your brain a little bit when you're writing. And don't use think, thought anymore, okay? You can pick one of these words, or if you come up with a different one, that's okay too. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be on this list. Give me a thumbs up when you have those written down. Okay, I see that, Christian. Dreamed, imagined, wondered. Good. Okay. This blue page now is going to go in a different spot in your binder. So there's a spot back here that says banned words. See that one? The tab that says banned words. You're going to go behind that tab that says banned words, and that's where you're going to put your blue page, right in there. Behind that tab. So you can open the rings and put it in there behind banned words, okay? Don't forget to close those rings after you get it in there. Okay. After you put the blue page away behind banned words, now go back to the front and you're going to get out the next week, which is week 6. So go back to the front of your binder behind the source text tab, this one, the very first tab says source text. Go behind that and you should see, not that page, hold on. This one, you should see week 6, the city mouse and the country mouse. So take out week 6, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 pages that you're going to take out. For week 6, once you see week 7, don't take that one out. That one stays in there. Close up your rings, and then we'll get started on the next lesson. Okay. The city mouse and the country mouse. Have you guys heard about that story before? Yeah. Christian gave me a thumbs up. Have you heard that one? Okay, good, Harmony. The first thing I want to show you, though, is this new pink page. So in that stack of papers you got out, you'll see a pink page that looks like this is page 57. Let's just look at this really quick together. I was so happy when I found this because this is going to really help you with your LY adverbs. Look at that. They gave you a nice handy dandy list, a big one. These are all LY adverbs that you can use in your writing. This is going to help you a lot.
I have 3 now.
Did you notice down here it says that word imposters? I think
Yeah,
we've
those are all not real. They're imposters.
Yeah, so they look like they could be LY adverbs, but they're not. They're actually adjectives, but they end in LY. So watch out for those. Don't use them as an adverb. Remember, adverb, luckily they called it adverb because it adds to the verb. It tells how something is happening, right?
Good.
How it's happening.
Now, if I lose one, I have 2 spares.
And there you go. Here we have chilly, friendly, ghastly, ghostly, holy, kingly. All of these down here are adjectives. They are not LY adverbs. So don't use the imposters list. Okay. That's just to show you those words, but don't use those. And then look at all these lines right here. That's for you to add if you come across a really cool LY adverb that's not here yet, because there's a bunch in English, right? We haven't used them all yet. You can add them here. You can write them in. Okay, so this is going to be a nice list to have handy. Okay, now let's look at the checklist really quick before we get started in the main story here. The checklist is here, page 59. Just want to peek at that. You guys know about these. These are really super important when you go to do your homework. Everything on top is pretty much the same as it has been. Okay, let's check down here under style. We have more dress ups now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a new dress up word. We didn't have that before, right? Let me check. No, we didn't. So that's something else. We'll add that next week on our other list. But now we have a because clause. LY adverb, who, which clause, strong verb, and because clause. That's probably one of the easier ones because you're just telling why something is the way it is. So you're going to tell the reader something is the way it is because, okay, that's when you use it like, let's see, let me think of an example. The mouse was sad because his friend had to go home. So it's telling why he was sad, right? Or the cat was hungry because he hadn't eaten since yesterday. So the cat was hungry because he hadn't eaten since yesterday. So those are easy examples. You're telling why something is the way it is. So now be mindful of that. And then I want you to look here at the band words. You have say, said is here, see, saw, go, went, and now you have think, thought. It's getting harder. You can't use these. These are banned. It means you can't use them anymore. Okay, let's go to the story next. The city mouse and the country mouse. By the way, there's a lot of different variations of this story, but the basic plot of the story is the same. The basic plot of it, but there's lots of different versions of this story. All right. And so what we're going to do is read it, and then we're going to set up a story sequence chart like we did for the Emperor in the Soup. And you're going to be thinking of who the characters are, where are they, what the problem is, or the conflict, remember, and then the climax and resolution. Be thinking of those parts of the story as we read it, and then we'll start filling out the story sequence chart. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. You guys just follow along on yours as I read. A city mouse once visited a cousin who lived in the country. For lunch, the country mouse served wheat stalks, roots, and acorns, with a dash of cold water for drink. The city mouse nibbled a little of this and a little of that by her manner, making it very plain that she ate the simple food only to be polite. It's basically saying she didn't really like it. She was eating it because she wanted to be polite. She didn't want to be rude and say, this is disgusting. I don't want to eat this. But so she ate it, but she really didn't like it. She was trying to be polite. Okay. So the city mouse was like, I don't think I like this wheat stalk and roots and acorns. After the meal, the city mouse chatted about her life in the city with its luxuries and delicacies. Luxuries is just basically like expensive things, right? And delicacies are fancy foods, fancy things to eat, expensive things. Then they went to bed in a cozy nest in the hedge and slept comfortably until morning. In her dreams, the country mouse enjoyed all the delights of the city life that her cousin had described. So she was dreaming of the city life. So the next day, when the city mouse asked the country mouse to go home with her to the city, she gladly agreed and packed her things. After they reached the mansion, that's a huge house, right? Big, big, big house, in which the city mouse lived, they found on the dining room table the leavings of a fine banquet. That just means like the leftovers of a fine banquet. They probably had a big party and they left the food on the table. I'm talking about the humans, right? The humans had a big party and they left the food on the table. There were meats and jellies, pastries, and delicious cheeses. But just as the country mouse was about to taste a morsel of cheddar, a cat meowed, or mewed is the way they spelled it here in this story. This is an old story, by the way. But the cat meowed loudly. Uh-oh. We know about cats and mice, right? I know about cats and mice and even dogs and mice. In great fear, the two mice scurried to a hiding place where they lay quite still for a long time, hardly daring to breathe. When at last they ventured back to the feast, the door opened suddenly, and in came the servants to clear the table, followed by the house dog. Uh-oh. The country mouse stepped into the city mouse's hole to pick up her bag and umbrella. You might have luxuries and dainties that I have not, she said as she hurried away, but I prefer my plain food and simple country life with the peace and security that go with them. And then there's a cute little picture here. And I don't know which would be the country and I'm thinking maybe this one's the country mouse. She's got a little apron on. Yeah, she's the one. I'm thinking that's the country mouse. What do you guys think? And then that's the city mouse there with the bag.
Because she is serving the city mouse, but she's standing. And the city mouse had the bag because the city mouse came there.
I agree, because the other thing is the city mouse didn't have to cook anything or prepare anything, right? They just showed up and tried to eat from the table. But the country mouse actually had to prepare the food, like go get it and bring it to the table. Here you can see the wheat and the acorn. I think you're right, Christian. I agree with that. Okay. So, this is a cute story, and basically it's two different lives, and, they're used to what they grew up with, just like we are, how we do things. And that's where we feel the most safe and secure, is the way we are familiar with, right? But the country mouse didn't like the city. It was too scary because of the cat and the dog and people. Because, people don't like mice. People want to trap them or squish them or something and get them out of the house, right? They don't want mice in the house. So, but in the country, nobody really cares, right? I mean, I'm in the mountains, and of course we have grain for all of our animals and hay and stuff like that. And the mice love that kind of stuff. So, there's usually mice around somewhere. We do have a cat, not our cat, but a cat that's decided to live here. And that cat helps with the mice. So anyways, back to
We
this.
have a neighborhood cat that decided to live at our house, and
Same
even though my
thing.
dad's allergic,
Yeah. Does the cat live inside?
no, it's out. It's an outdoor cat. We
Oh,
got
yeah.
it has a little cushion outside too. In our front yard, we got a cushion for it,
Little bed.
and it actually, since we gave it so much, it caught us a gift, a rat.
Oh, lovely. All right. So
That's
get
a
out
gift.
a clean piece of paper here. We're going to start setting up the story sequence chart. So go ahead and put your name and date, and then it's a big title. So go ahead and skip a line and write the title. The
Is it
city.
4 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs?
It's 3. But before you set it up, wait for me, okay? Because this is a story sequence chart. So this one's a little bit different. We're going to call it SSC. Okay. And remember, when we set up a story sequence chart, I want you to skip a line, and I want you to draw a line down kind of a little bit to the left side of the paper, not exactly centered, but a little bit closer to the whole side. About like that. And then after you draw that line down, does not need to be perfect. So don't worry if it's a little crooked, it's okay. I want you on the right side. Let's go ahead and start filling in your outline. You're going to do Roman numeral 1, and then 1, 2, 3. Skip a line. I'll stop in a second. I just want to get all this on here. Roman numeral 2, 1, 2, 3. Skip a line. Roman numeral 3. Okay, I'll pause there for a second. So go ahead and set that up. You guys have done this a few times, so you're probably familiar with how to set this up. Whenever you're retelling a story like this is more creative writing, right? This is more of storytelling. A story sequence chart is going to help you with the main parts of the story. Anytime. So if you have this assignment in another class or another subject where you're retelling a story, you can always use this chart here. Now, right on top of the Roman numerals, like right above the Roman numeral 1, you're going to draw this, trace that line across. By the way, I'm going past my red line just to make sure I have plenty of room here. Right on top of Roman numeral 2. Right on top of Roman numeral 3. And then wherever your line ends, mine is way down here, but wherever the bottom of yours is, go ahead and just follow it across. I have extra lines down here. It's okay. I just like to finish it off so it looks more like a chart. Okay, so keep working on that if you're still working on it. Give me a thumbs up when you got this far, though. Okay, I see that. Good, Harmony. Okay. This story that you're going to rewrite is only going to have 3 paragraphs. Our original story is more than 3 paragraphs, but you're only writing 3. Okay, you're going to retell the story. By the way, this week, technically, you're only writing the first paragraph. Okay, that's your homework this week is paragraph 1. So we're going to focus on that first. Who remembers what we talk about first when we retell a story? What goes in this box right here? Do you remember? What do we talk about first? Go ahead, Christian.
Character and the setting.
Yes, good. So characters / setting. This is when we answer these 3 questions. Who, where, and when. In that first box, that's what we're focusing on. Who's in the story? Where are they? And when is it? Sometimes the when isn't always in the story. So this one you might not know, but who and where, those are the characters and setting. All right. So once you got that written down, whenever Harmony's ready, I'm going to have you tell us who are the characters in this story? Who are the main characters in this story?
The city mouse,
Okay, good. The city mouse and who else?
the country mouse,
And the country mouse. So let's put it like this. I'm going to use the number 2 so we don't have to count that. 2 mice. Remember, the plural for mouse is mice. And then I'm going to write it like this, little colon, and I'm going to put country and city. When you go to write your paragraph, you might say something like, once upon a time, there were 2 mice, a city mouse and a country mouse, or a country mouse and a city mouse. It doesn't matter what order you put it in, however you choose to tell the story. But remember, you can mix these up. So however it makes sense to you to write that sentence, just introducing that there's 2 mice in the story. And how are they related, Christian? Do you remember what it said about how they're related to each other?
They're cousins.
They're cousins. I think that's important to mention here too. They're cousins. And the first part of the story, who visits who first, Christian? Who goes to whose house first?
The city mouse visits the country mouse.
The city mouse goes to the country mouse. That's right. So I decided, because we're going to have to figure out how to abbreviate these guys, because otherwise we're going to be so confused if we just keep saying city, country, country, city. So rather than C with a circle, because both city and country start with a C, how about we circle CI for city and CO for country? That way we can remember which mouse is which. So we can say, and then maybe even the M too. So we can say like the city mouse, CIM, I'm going to circle it. That represents city mouse. Visits the country mouse. City mouse is CIM. Country mouse is COM. Maybe we should put dots between here, like CI.M, CO.M. So they're cousins, and the city mouse visits the country mouse. Okay, Harmony, so the city mouse is visiting the country mouse, and she's serving a meal. What did the country mouse serve? What was it? What was her food that she served in the country?
We serve
wheat,
Wheat?
ducks, roots, and acorns.
Yes. So maybe we could just put wheat and roots and acorns. Those are all things that grow in the country, right? Those grow from the ground. They're actually, well, wheat is more like a
Once
grain.
grow
Right.
on trees, which are seeds.
Uh-huh.
And then the seed
Uh-huh.
grows inside the rat's stomach. And then it
Mhm.
pops out of its mouth, the tree, and then acorns fall and then it eats more acorns.
Good. So that's what she serves for dinner, right? And then Christian, what did the city mouse think of that dinner?
Hated it.
She hated it. Well, it didn't really say that she hated it. What did it say?
She disliked it.
She very plain, but she still ate it. Only to be polite.
I mean, she most likely disliked it.
Disliked it. What if we did well, she called it simple. Maybe we could do the word, how could we show dislike, Christian, on this chart here, on our story sequence chart? How could we show?
The abbreviation for city mouse, and then thought, oh, city mouse, pondered
We show
simple.
dislike. I'm thinking of a symbol for dislike.
Yeah.
You have an idea, Harmony?
Or did you have a word
It
for dislike?
dislike.
We could just put dislike. I kind of, because we can count that. What if we did, okay, city?
Yeah.
Okay, yuck. Yes, I agree. We could say yuck. You can put yuck if you like that, or you can put dislike. That means not like, right? Because it was simple. But how was she acting, Christian? Was she rude?
Nope.
What was she?
Polite.
Polite. I think we should add that on here. That tells a little bit more about her character. So we answered who, the mice, and we answered where. They're in the city. Well, they're actually in the country, right? And then we told a little bit more about what's going on in the story here. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. And we're going to fill these two in next week. So your job this week is to use just this first box and write your first paragraph. Now, there's a lot on your checklist. So I want to make sure that you remember all of the different things on your checklist here. You got 5 words now to work in. And then make sure you stay away from these words. Like, don't say that the city mouse thought it was disgusting. You know, you don't want to say thought. The city mouse knew it was disgusting, or the city mouse felt it or let's see, felt doesn't really work there.
Tasted. Nope.
Tasted.
Tasted the tasted the disgustingness.
You got it. And then of course your grammar pages. So that's it for your homework. 1 paragraph this week. Okay. The first one. And then your grammar. Thank you, Harmony. Good job. You got it, Christian?
Yep.
Have fun tonight if you guys go trick-or-treating, and nice to see
Happy
you.
Halloween! I'm getting all the candy in the neighborhood.
Bye, Princess Peach. And
Bye.
bye, Ninja.
I plan on getting all the candy in the neighborhood.
Good. Don't eat it all, though.
Bye.
You'll feel sick after that.
Bye.
Bye. See you guys next week.